And this is a super short slide deck. It's the format operator. The format operator is super cool. It allows us to take a string and format it in any way that we want. Now, I can tell you how to use the format operator in just a couple minutes here, but you can spend a tremendous amount of time exploring the format operator for cool things you can do with the format operator. So I'll only show just a very few of them. The format operator takes a string and allows you to insert data into that string in a format that you might desire. In reality, the format operator in PowerShell is really just a way to access the static format method of the string object easily right in PowerShell. Now, the way it works is you take a format string, so the string you want to look a certain way. We use the format operator, which is just -f. It's not dash format either, it's just -f. And then the argument list. This is an array of arguments that we want to insert into our formatted string. Now, the argument list, or excuse me, the format string here can get very complicated, or it can be pretty simplistic. The more complicated you get it, the cooler results you can get out of it, but you'll need to kind of dig into the documentation a little bit. We're not going to spend time teaching you all of the format strings and stuff like that. So I got links to the online documentation. It's just the format operator out in .NET. So let's take a look at how it works, the basic, how this works. So I'm going to give you a couple examples here. The basic syntax, or the basic thing you need to know, is in our format string, we're going to take our string. A format string is a little bit like an expansion string in a way. We're going to put kind of variables inside of it, and then we're going to pass values to those variables. But it doesn't matter if you use a double quote or a single quote in here, because it's not actually the PowerShell that's doing it. It's the string object. So what we can do is we can put whatever we want in, and where we want to substitute information or put a variable in, we're going to put a placeholder. The placeholder uses braces and then a number. The number is an index number in the array that you're going to pass to the format function. So here we have, in this case, hi, then position 0, do you know position 1. Then we're going to call the format operator, and we're going to pass an array in of the values that we want to fill the positions in. So let's go back to here. So I could say hi, and we'll put our position here. Hi, do you know, I don't remember what I did, something like this. And we'll put 1 in here. We'll say format this. Ooh, we'll say format that. And then we're just going to pass an array that we want to fill in. Hi, Bill and Sally. Okay, so what this is going to do is, since we're passing an array in, Bill is in index 0 and Sally's in index 1, we're going to end up with hi, Bill, do you know Sally? And these numbers in here can be in any order you want, and they can even be duplicated. So my thing's not going to make much sense, but I could put 0. Whoa, come on, fingers. I could put 0 in here, and you'll see that it'll put Bill back in this spot. So I can put the data in anywhere I want in the string. I can put it multiple times in the string. They don't need to be in order, and so forth. Obviously, this could be an array that I have. So if I had an array, let's just say that my array equals 1.2, and that's just going to give me 1 and 2 in the array. So I could take this and pass the array in there, and I've got hi 1, do you know 2, and 1. I mean, obviously that makes no sense, but you can pass these in as an array. Or if I had variables, like name 1 equals Bill, and name 2 equals Sally, I could pass it in like this too. So I could say N1 and N2. So I could do it any number of ways to get that data in there. So super useful. It's kind of like an expansion string in PowerShell, but the benefit of the format over the expansion string in PowerShell is I can operate extensively on this insertion and format the data in lots of really cool ways. So maybe I could do something like this. It is, and then maybe I'll put a 3 in there. And I could say, oh, well, maybe I'll say get date. So, whoops. Oh, whoops. This has got to be 2, right? I jumped out. So it'll put that, date and time in there. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about kind of some formatting. Let's do this one down here. This, I'm going to write this statement, candy, some value for, and then I'm going to format this a little bit differently. All right. So let's see what this is going to do. We'll say candy, and I'm going to put a number in here for, and then I'll put my second element of my array in. And now let's format this. And I want this to say, candy 3 for $1.50 or something like that. So if I say 3, 1.5, you'll see that it says candy 3 for 1.5. Well, that's kind of cool, but if I want to, I could take this and then I can actually apply some formatting options in here. So the capital C says format this as currency. So now it's going to say candy 3 for $1.50. Now, if my version of Windows were set up, in the UK, well, maybe not in the UK now, but somewhere in the EU, then it wouldn't show dollars; it would show euros. Okay, so the way that it's formatted will be dependent upon the culture that PowerShell is running in. So if PowerShell were running, in Japanese, then it would show yen there instead of dollars there. So you can do some really cool stuff like that as well. So the syntax for the format string looks like this. The first thing is the index, and then we can put a comma and then the alignment. What the alignment does is it tells us the number of characters that we're going to add into that string to put this in. So for example, let me put something after this so you can see. I'll put just a period after this, and you'll see the periods immediately after the $1.50. If I put a comma here and say something like 5, let's see, 1. I better make this bigger so we can see. So I'll do something like 10. This says when you substitute the variable in there, take up exactly 10 spaces. So normally it just takes up the amount of room that it needs, but I can say, well, take up exactly 10 spaces. This is a really convenient way to make columns. All right. So if I wanted the numbers to line up in columns, I could make sure that they're all the same size. And if I put a negative number in here instead of a positive number, it will left align the data in that space in the string. So positive numbers right align, negative numbers left align. Then the last piece of the format is a colon and the format string. Now the format string is the hard thing to describe here because the format string has lots and lots of options. So I have a help link in the document that takes you out to Microsoft's help on format. And there's a ton of format stuff, okay? If I scroll down here, let's see. Let's see, where is it? I think it's here. Okay, so let's see. I thought there was a link. Wait just a second. Okay, so these links here will actually link out to different topics that give us formatting information. So if we take a look at standard numeric formats, right? If I look in here, you can see what the format means. So you can see that a capital C or a lowercase c lowercase c, I can say that, will result in a currency. All right. A D is a decimal, an E is an exponential number, F for a fixed point, etc. You can see those. Once we're over here into kind of the format standards and stuff, you can click around to see. So if we look at the date and time formats, you'll see that a small d is a short date pattern. All right. Capital D is a long date pattern. F is a full date time pattern, etc. So if I wanted to, I could come back to here and where that date one was, I could come in here and say, oh, show this in the date format. So instead of that big long date time that we saw earlier, it's gonna show me just that date format. And there's all kinds of stuff we could do. So like if we put 2 days in there, that just gives me the day of the month. So I can make custom formats too. You know, so maybe I'll do MMDD YYYY, and so month, year, day. Why do I have a maybe MM is not what I want. I just want M. Why do I have 54? Maybe M is not month. Oh, M's minute. So yeah, so you got to dig into the format to see what they all mean. You can make custom formats. There's a lot of pre-built in formats, and we could literally spend all day playing around with formats. But you know, now you got the idea of how format string works. You can look those up, and of course I got documents help all over the place.